This place was not chosen by chance. We are meeting in the historical building of the Silesian Parliament that since 1920s has been a place of dialogue, cooperation, and care for European values and successful future of our region. Although we are proud to represent the communities we come from, cities, regions, and states. Today we are all Europeans, from Saarbrücken and Sofia, from Alicante and Tallinn, from Kaunas and Trieste, from Koper and Silesia, and from very brave Mariupol. In the European spirit, let's listen together to the Ode to Joy. The piece will be performed by the choir of the Institute of Music Arts under the direction of Professor Aleksandra Zema, the solo vocal of Danuta Bańczyk. Thank you. On behalf of the host of the ceremony, namely Rector of the University of Silesia in Katowice, Professor Ryszard Koziołek, and the President of the Saarland University, Professor Manfred Schmidt, I would like to welcome representatives of the central and self-government authorities, including academic cities. I warmly welcome Ms. Beata Białowąs, representing the Regional Council, Mr. Waldemar Bojarun, Deputy Mayor of the City of Katowice, Mr. Jacek Brzezinka, Member of the Board of the Metropolis GZM, Rectors of amicable universities, Professor Celina Olszak, Rector of the University of Economics in Katowice, Professor Marek Pawełczyk, Vice Rector for Science and Development of the Silesian University of Technology, Professor Arkadiusz Stanula, Vice Rector for Promotion and Sport of the Jerzy Kukuczka Academy of Physical Education in Katowice. I warmly welcome members of the Alliance Transform for Europe, Professor Juozas Augutis, Rector of the Vytautas Magnus University, Professor Mart Kalm, Rector of the Estonian Academy of Arts, Professor Klaudia Kutnar, Rector of the University of Primorska. Professor Vilma Biejkiene, Vice Rector for Communication at the Vytautas Magnus University. Professor David de Valence, Vice Rector for Internalization at the University of Primorska. Professor Peter Hannenberg, Vice Rector for the Research and Innovation, as well as Director of Catholica Doctoral School at the Catholic University of Portugal. Professor Julia Kristiene, Vice Rector for Research at the Vytautas Magnus University. Professor Cornelius König, Vice President for Internalization and European Relations at the Saarland University. Professor Juan Llopis, Director of Institutional Relations and Project at the University of Alicante. Professor Rafael Molina Carmona, Vice Rector for Digital Transformation at the University of Alicante. Professor Walter Sergo, Vice Rector of the University of Trieste. Professor Maria Stojčeva, Vice Rector for International Relations at the Sofia University, St. Clement Ochrydzki. Dr. Cynthia Sandes Oliveira, Transform for Europe Project Manager. Mr. Lucas Redeman, President of Transform for Europe Students' Council. I would like to welcome all representatives of the Consular Corps. Ms. Anna Krasuska-Terrion, Honorary Consul of the French Republic in Katowice, and Mr. Tomasz Zjawiony, Honorary Consul of the Republic of Slovenia, President of the Regional Chamber of Commerce. I would like to welcome Senior Rectors of the University of Silesia, Vice Rectors of our university, members of the University Council, members of the University Senate, deans, chancellors, academic and administrative staff, students, PhD students, graduates, and all invited guests. I would also like to extend my greetings to all those who participate in today's ceremony via webcast. And it is time to officially commence the Transform for Europe Week. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Rector of the University of Silesia, Professor Ryszard Koziołek.
What a day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely happy that for the first time we are meeting in person here in Katowice in the University of Silesia with friends, rectors, students, or 9 universities associated with the T4E Alliance. Like the rest of the world, we are tired of seeing each other only on screens. We can finally shake hands, look each other in the eyes, have a conversation, enjoy working together, walk around the city, have dinner at the restaurant. This is the only way to create true cooperation, trust, and friendship. Nevertheless, despite the pandemic and severe limitations of in-person contacts for the first year of our project, we have already started to see the benefits of exchanging our stuff, learning from one another, and combining our intellectual, cultural, and educational potentials. Today, we meet with rectors, employees, and students of European universities on a special day to sign the declaration to celebrate Europe's Day. The message we want to convey is that the significance of European universities, in particular T4E, is crucial for the renewal and invigorating the spirit of European integration. Making the European values the basis of the world's leading and the most attractive model of living. As it turned out, our unity and solidarity in defense of these European values have never been more important than just today, when we are confronted with a military aggression against the state precisely because of its European ambitions and orientation. The European Day is a commemoration of the Schumann Declaration presented by French Foreign Minister Robert Schuman on 9 May 1950. The key question for the authors of the Schumann Declaration was how to prevent economic rivalry from sparking another terrible war. They also had no doubts that it was a never-ending job. We know for sure today that they were absolutely right. We read there the following sentence, I quote, "Europe will not be made all at once or according to a single plan. It will be built through concrete achievements which first create a de facto solidarity." This sentence should have a concrete meaning for the whole of Europe that stands in solidarity with Ukraine. Today, the world is living through ruthless, aggressive, and appalling times of war unleashed by the Russian regime on the people of Ukraine. On inconceivable war in the 21st century Europe. The brutal reality wrecks the life of our partners, friends, and students from Ukrainian academia. Standing in their support in the face of countless human tragedies, we re-evaluate again and again our fundamental values and share moments of solidarity and friendship. Universities were not created for the purpose of war. They do not train students to become soldiers. There seems not to be use for academics in the times of war. But on February 24th, we started organizing aid for refugees from Ukraine. Accommodation, translators, money, food, clothes, psychological help, childcare, study places, help in finding a job, charity concerts, all this takes place at our university and at many other universities in Poland. The epidemic and the ongoing war in Ukraine made us realize that universities are powerful organisms that create science and conduct education, but they are also our protection in times of crisis. We are thousands of people trained in problem solving, and we have the best research tools to build defense against epidemics or the effects of war. Together with our friends at T4E, we can do a lot more because cooperating universities are another proof of the benefits and values of the European Union. Only strong and united, we can help effectively. A symbolic moment today was the first direct and formal contact with the rector of Mariupol State University, whom we would love to introduce into T4E as a new associated partner. Here's not the only one. It's a great opportunity to welcome our prospective new partners, whom we would be happy to formally include into Alliance in our second call in 2023. That is Catholic University of Portugal and the Slovenian University of Primorska. Not with the understanding the despair of war, this day is an exceptional for our alliance as it marks the inaugural Transform for Europe Week, a week of activities intended to joy an inspiring time of unity, accord and togetherness within our European university. We will celebrate this precious moment with captivating meetings, lectures, and workshops for the academic community and engage in discussions about the future position and role of academia, as well as our alliance. Finally, I would like to add that I'm especially pleased to welcome all guests from Europe to Katowice, the city that has recently received the honorable title of the European City of Science 2024. I'm sure that it will be an additional opportunity for all of us for many similar meetings and projects in the next future. Now, I would like to express my gratitude to everyone who works on a daily basis on the implementation of the task of the T4E Alliance, especially our leader, Rector Manfred Schmidt. Thanks especially to those who prepared T4E Week, and I wish you a fruitful, fantastic time. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Rector. And now I would like to invite the president of the leading university, the University of Saarland, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Manfred Schmidt.
Dear Richard, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, dear colleagues, dear friends, it's really a very special moment. And it's highly emotional to be here. And it's not a pleasure, it's a real honor for me to be here as representative of Saarland University and also as representative of our European University Alliance. And it is the first time for me to be real in Poland, besides a couple of years ago visiting the airports. And it's fantastic what I have felt within the past 24 hours. So it's overwhelming, the hospitality, and I think one also should stress the full respect to the Polish people. What they have done in the last 2.5 months is unbelievable, and it's a wonder. And everybody in Germany, in all European countries, is more than thankful and highly respectful to the entire nation of Poland. So thank you from the deep of my heart, and I think I speak for all my colleagues. This event in this historical building is, at least in my eyes, showing what is the importance and the value of a true European spirit. We are united, and we try to do our best as universities, as higher education institutions, as research institutions, to work together and to educate the young generation of scientists who know what a European spirit is, who know about the values of Europe, and what the major important is to stay together, really united, as we made it possible the last 2 years. It's fantastic, and I'm really proud to be part of this fantastic community, and I'm also very happy that we are able to enlarge our community by 2 additional nations. So this is really Europe, and it was also I can't find the right words, but probably you can imagine what I want to say. If we had a short conversation with the Mariupol State University this morning, this was another highly emotional moment for all of us, to see what the people are still hoping. Hope that Europe is staying together, and they are absolutely convinced that together they will build up a new university. It's totally destroyed right now. And to see the hope and how thankful these people is can make us very proud. So thanks a lot. It's really been fantastic to be here, to be your guest, and I promise and I'm sure it's not the last time, and I will do my very best to motivate our students, our PhD students, our staff, to come to each country here in our alliance, because this is the most important point, to get a real strong community. So I'm proud of it, and thanks again, in particular to Richard, but all your staff. You've done a marvelous job, and it's so fantastic to be here as your guest. We are very warmly and heartily welcome, and this is really very special. So thanks again, and it's a great day for all of us, and I'm proud to sign, I think in a few minutes, this declaration. So thanks again.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for this emotional speech. Transform for Europe is the European University for Knowledge Entrepreneurs. It means that the cooperation with external stakeholders is very important to us. We have been addressed a special list from the representative of the central government, and if you permit, I will read it. The letter is in Polish language, so I will ask for translate. Jego magnificencja, profesor dr habilitowany Ryszard Koziołek, rektor Uniwersytetu Śląskiego.
Rector Koziołek
Magnificencja.
in Katowice. Your Magnificence. Thank you for inviting me to the ceremony of inauguration of Transform for Europe Week. I am certain that the first edition of the event that I had pleasure to be the patron of will be a good moment to start fruitful cooperation and tighten the links between all the members of Transform for Europe Alliance. I hope that in the coming years this undertaking will become part of academic reality. This year, Transfer for Europe Week is 5 days of fantastic offer of scientific projects, workshops, and artistic events. It's a great opportunity for integration between universities and to activate the students. That is why I even more appreciate the initiative that takes part in the Silesian Voivodeship, one of the most important and the biggest hubs of academics and science, and it contributes to the development of science and innovative society. Please take my congratulations and thanks for organizing this event. I would like to give my regards to all the participants of this inauguration ceremony, and I wish you all good health, achieving your goals, and good luck in your personal and private life. Wojewód of Silesia, Jarosław Wieczorek.
The University of Silesia always can count with support not only of agencies and representatives of the central government, but also local and regional government. For this reason, I'm very pleased to invite Ms. Beata Białowąs, representing the regional government.
Szanowni Państwo, pozwólcie, że w pierwszej kolejności
Ladies
odczytam
and
list
gentlemen,
skierowany
let
na
me
ręce pana
first read a letter
profesora od pana marszałka Jakuba
from the
Chełstowskiego.
Marshal Jakub
Szanowny
Chełstowski
pan
to
profesor, doktor habilitowany Ryszard
Professor,
Koziołek, rektor Uniwersytetu
Rector of the
Śląskiego w
Silesian University in Katowice. Your Magnificence.
Dziękuję za zaproszenie
Thank you
na
for
uroczystą
inviting me to the
inaugurację
inauguration of this exceptional
pod nazwą
event
Transform for
entitled Transfer for Europe Week.
Dumny jestem.
I am proud that the opening ceremony takes part within the halls of the Silesian Sejm, which is the heart of this historical building. The growing cooperation, international cooperation in all the areas of science is the biggest dimension, the most important dimension of functioning of Polish universities. Therefore, I want to congratulate you for the project that is being organized by the University of Silesia in Katowice. The idea has combined 7 universities that together aim at transformation of the style of scientific approach and education and didactics. It is the universities that can play the major role in all the processes of European transformation. I am happy that the Silesian Voivodeship, due to the the University of Silesia, allows us to host a group of academics and administrative workers of universities, PhD students, doctoral students, and students of 7 universities that comprise Transform for Europe. It's an opportunity also to get to know our region, which I would like to invite you to do. The best quality of education, access to good education, using top knowledge, theoretical knowledge, and practical solutions allow us to handle the challenges of the dynamically changing world. Therefore, I would like to give you the words of approval to Your Magnificence, Rector of the University of Silesia, for performing this uneasy task, which both for the academic community and for the whole Silesian Voivodeship is of great importance. I would like to thank all the persons involved in the organization of the event. I would like to wish you fruitful debates and good contribution in the European world. Yours sincerely, Marshal of the Silesian Voivodeship. As a person who in the regional board is responsible for education, I would like to say a few words. It's a great honor that on behalf of Jakub Chełstowski and the whole management of the Silesian Voivodeship, I can hand this letter over to His Magnificence. But I would also like to say that I'm very happy to see you all here in Katowice in the Silesian Voivodeship. I hope it's going to be a fantastic time for you. And if any of you are here for the first time in Katowice, in Silesian Voivodeship, I hope it's not your last visit here. So you're already invited to come back to our beautiful Silesian Voivodeship.
Pani marszałek, bardzo dziękujemy.
Thank you very much, Marshal.
The University of Silesia always can count with a very big support of our academic cities. Maybe like you know, we are located in 4 academic cities. Our main meeting takes place in Katowice. We have also campuses in Chorzów, in Sosnowiec, and in Cieszyn, when we will be on Wednesday. But today, I would like to welcome the Deputy Mayor of the city of Katowice, Mr. Waldemar Bojarun. Zapraszamy.
Wasze magnificencje,
Your
Panie i Panowie
Magnificence,
profesorowie, Pani Marszałek,
Professors, Marshal, President, all guests.
wielki to dla mnie zaszczyt.
It is a great honor for me to be here on behalf of Mayor of Katowice, Marcin Krupa, to welcome you all in Katowice. Katowice is an exceptional place, exceptional city on the map of Poland, even though the oldest neighborhoods are dated back to the 12th to 13th century. The city itself is only 150 years old. It's one of the youngest in Poland, but the history of our city is very vivid and lively and interesting. This 150 years have been the years of a very lively development of this area and the Silesian voivodeship. For over 100 years, here in the lands of Silesia, we've developed heavy industry, steelworks and mining. For decades, we were proud of this. But this transformation that had to encounter the heavy industry was a big challenge that we had to face 20 years ago. And let me briefly tell you a word about those 20 last year, because those 20 years was the time of big challenges, of how to change the typical coal and steel city into a modern metropolis. The recipe for the transformation is not easy and not straightforward, but it was possible due to huge involvement of the academic community, which we are, Your Magnificence, truly grateful. Because the support we received allowed us to find a new path of development for Katowice, which also marks the transition of the whole area of Silesia and the coal basin of Dąbrowa. We have the big drivers. Education is a big driver of this transition. Today, we are an important city on the map of Europe, where here in Katowice we have global rank events, which can be seen by this event that we have today. But we have another UN event, UN summit. It's going to be a third one organized in Katowice in June this year. It's going to be Urban Forum of the United Nations. It will be organized here in Katowice. Having this pleasure to welcome you all, I would also like to use this opportunity to invite you all within those 5 days, among those debates and scientific projects and workshops. I encourage you to find a moment to see and visit our city, to see the transition we've been through. You can see some modern architecture, but also historical buildings. Some modern buildings can be found near the Katowice Sports Hall. The Flying Saucer, it's called, but right next to it we have a culture zone. A beautiful hall of the National Orchestra, of the Polish Radio, the Silesian Museum, and the Congress Center. It is a culture zone. And then right next to it, it's a still developing zone of education. And Rector Ryszard Koziołek has already mentioned it. We are to host an event in 2024. That is the implementation of a great scientific event, because Katowice is going to be the European city of science. So I am convinced that the 5 days now in Katowice will start even bigger cooperation, international cooperation, and will enable the development of all the universities and of the young generation, of whom we have so many representatives here. So welcome to Katowice and have fruitful debates. Thank you very much.
Dziękujemy bardzo, panie prezydencie. The last 18 months has been a very difficult time. The pandemic, lockdowns, video calls, and no journeys. No in-person meetings, but a lot of work. Now I would like you to see and have a little journey how our adventure began.
It's a great day for our alliance when the first pilot edition of Transform for Europe week begins. We have waited for this moment for a long time and worked very hard to make it happen. I'm really glad to see that this day has finally come and we can all meet here in Katowice to celebrate the inauguration of the first T4 Europe week. We started our project in the late 2020, in the midst of the COVID pandemic. Due to that, the practical side of our cooperation had to face extraordinary, unprecedented difficulties, including university lockdowns or traveling bans. Nonetheless, we have overcome all of this and came out of it stronger and more resilient. Today our alliance is clearly gaining momentum, and from now on, we can regard the process of T4 Europe building as passing from the stage of laying down foundations to much more spectacular phase of constructing up higher and higher above the ground. Since most of our earlier meetings had to be held online, this T4 Europe Week is actually the first large-scale in-person event, gathering a large number of colleagues from all our universities. It marks a new beginning of what we are doing together. Now we have to start thinking on how to make constant circulation of people, projects and ideas among our communities a daily practice of Transform for Europe, a truly European university spreading across the whole EU, from Spain to Estonia, and hopefully soon also from Slovenia to Portugal.
How have the last 16 months been? It was a very difficult time of intense work. We started in the COVID-19 pandemic time. We couldn't meet in person and we couldn't shake our hands. But because of it, now we are perfect in online tools. This way we have organized the kick-off meeting and other events important for the Alliance. In September of 2021, we met for the first time to celebrate together the European Day of Languages. We have been meeting online regularly to plan and implement next tasks. We have also participated in virtual meetings of representations of the European universities. We have created first the virtual offices, which have special importance in such a huge campus. And when the pandemic gave us a little relief, we started to visit each other with great pleasure. After first 16 months of the project, not without obstacles, but anyhow, we achieved many aims and completed many tasks. We also managed to get to know and understand each other better. And here we are today. So let's start the third joint edition of Transform for Europe Week. We open our first Transform for Europe Week on a very special day, the Europe's Day. We have gathered here today because we are united by a common European values. Cynthia, do you agree?
Absolutely. Who could not agree more with such a statement? Ladies and gentlemen, our rectors, presidents, students, academic and non-academic staff. I think you've heard a lot of different speeches today. Some of them touched our rational thinking and were very objective in terms of what we want to build as an alliance, what we have achieved. Some of them touched our hearts very deeply. And today is a very, very special day. We meet and we see in this room here what really Transform for Europe means. You are Transform for Europe, a unity in diversity and a promise for a future that is actively working in the process of current transformation. We have seen earlier today, Professor Stocheva have mentioned, we are living through crisis after crisis. And that requires adaptability, that requires being able to transform and be part of this transformation. And that's what our university, our European University Alliance is and means. Without further ado, I was asked to read the declaration that will be shortly signed by our rectors, and it's our joint declaration for Europe Day. 9th May is Europe Day, the day on which we celebrate peace and unity in Europe. It is fitting that is also the day on which our alliance, Transform for Europe, will hold its inaugural Transform for Europe Week, a week of activities that is intended as an annual celebration of unity and collaboration within our European university. Open dialogue, free exchange of ideas and interaction across the borders based on the values of liberty, equality, and reason lie at the very core of any university. The Transform for Europe Alliance is a cooperative undertaking which aims to renew and foster European integration by building bridges that span national, cultural, and linguistic borders. At the time when militarism and imperialism have raised their heads in Europe again, our active involvement in upholding and defending the fundamental principles of European integration is more important than ever. We are committed to ensuring that our alliance will help to shape the future model of higher education in Europe. The universities in the Transform for Europe Alliance are lighthouses that seek to personify the core European values. By highlighting innovation, collaboration, and development, Transform for Europe aims to directly address the social, green, and digital challenges of our time and strive for a better, more humane, and sustainable future through transformation. Science, culture, and arts are the bedrock of all flourishing human societies. Through successful transformation of our institutions to encourage greater cooperation across all fields, we ultimately aim to transform Europe by helping to shape the solutions required to meet the challenges of the 21st century. Thank you.
Thank you, Cynthia. And now I will ask rectors, starting with President of Saarland University, Professor Manfred Schmidt. Professor, may we ask to sign the declaration?
It's my pleasure. And also here. Can you see it? No.
Okay, I may need a bit of help. Przepraszam, czy mogę poprosić o techniczną pomoc? Okay.
Could help me, please.
Sorry, everything was going too smooth.
Maybe now. Maybe now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, I would like to invite to listen to greetings from Alicante. And after this greeting, I will ask Professor Juaniopis, but we have a special surprise.
Good afternoon, dear rectors, dear vice-rectors, professors, dear colleagues. I am Amparo Navarro, rector of the University of Alicante, and I'm delighted to be with you today representing our institution. It is indeed a day of celebration, as today we are holding the T40 Week opening ceremony and celebrating Europe's Day, a day on which we celebrate peace and unity in Europe. For the T40 Alliance, it means a celebration of unity and collaboration within our European university, but also an opportunity to highlight our solidarity with Ukraine. First of all, I would like to deeply thank the University of Silesia for all the efforts they have made organizing the first T40 Week in Katowice, Poland. I am aware that in nowadays context, it has been a real challenge. However, due to their commitment, with the Alliance, and thanks to all university partners' support, this first T40 week is now a reality. I believe this event will enable the creation of a real international campus with a lively, friendly, and innovative atmosphere. I would have loved to attend and meet you all face to face, but due to agenda issues, it has not been possible. However, I am very well represented by Professor Juan Llopis, Director of Institutional Relations and Projects, and also by the University of Alicante delegation, composed by almost 40 students and academic and non-academic staff that will be participating in the educational, research, doctoral and administrative stream, and in the governing bodies meetings, as well as in the different cultural activities. The University of Alicante, where I studied and had worked in my entire career, has a long history of delivering teaching, research and knowledge transfer service. In this sense, the T40 Alliance is a strategic action of our university, as we are completely aligned with digital transformation, the transition to a green economy, equal opportunity, and the enhancement of higher education and research. Finally, the University of Alicante wants to be a focal and reference point in our regional, national, and European context. Thanks to the privilege we have with T40, learning from all of you, not only as professionals, but first and foremost as persons. Thank you very much for your attention, and see you in Alicante.
Professor Juan Llopis, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you so much. I will be very brief, trying not to repeat things that have been talked before. I remember we were discussing when to have this meeting, and we discussed 8 months ago, something about that. And this day, this other day, we didn't know. It was very successful to choose this day. And I must say that by the screen, I saw all the implications of the University of Silesia and how enthusiastic they were to hold this event here. And I thought, well, seems that this person is very enthusiastic about this. My expectations were very low. The results are higher and higher of all of this. So thank you so much. I came with partners, and I'm leaving with friends. Thank you.
On behalf of the Estonian Academy of Arts, I would like to invite the rector, Professor Mart Kalm.
Dear friends, I'm really happy for this opportunity to sign this important document in this very special building. a really great whole, super architecture what surrounds me and all of us. Among our T4Europe partners are several of our partners comes from the states which were established or re-established as a result of the World War I. After that, this parliament building was also built. Please excuse me for being personal. I am by background architecture historian. We have in Estonia a similar parliament building, a lot of traits which I recognize. And for me, this Estonian parliament building has been an object of research. I have written a monograph about it. So, thanks to this extraordinary spatial experience I feel here, it also gives me a clear understanding that this T4Europe project has a uniting power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rector. I must say that sometimes it is good to be stubborn. Okay, and now I would like to invite, on behalf of the University of Silesia in Katowice, the Rector, Professor Ryszard Koziołek. Thank you very much. Now, on behalf of the Sofia University St. Clement Ochrydzki, the Vice Rector, Professor Maria Stojčeva.
Dear guests, dear colleagues, dear students, it's today the 9th of May. It's a symbol for all of us. And as you know, symbols can have different meanings. We come university after university here, and we side with a particular symbol. This is our care for the future of Europe. And as it's sung in the song, it is a statement that we care for Europe. We want to keep it free. Our alliance is about the transformation of Europe. But I'm absolutely sure that something will remain the same. This is the communities we have in our universities, which are built on trust. Our universities are actually microcosms of conflicting ideas, competing statements in every possible aspect, but they are communities built on trust. And our alliance will carry that through our project and through the transformation that we aim at. We will be a community of trust, and we are building that. So this is the sense and meaning that we sign here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rector. And now, on behalf of the University of Trieste, I would like to invite Vice Rector, Professor Walter Sergo.
Magnificent Rector of the Silesian University, professors, administrative staff, students. Differently from other colleagues, I'm not sure to want to express gratitude to you for the very simple reason that you set an enormously high standard for the next meetings. So for all of this, dziękuję. Talking about what you're doing here, signing a treaty, having meetings, exchanging ideas, not only is taking place in Europe, but actually it is Europe in its most essential and purest way. That's what you do here. So thank you all, thanks us all.
Thank you, Rector. On behalf of the Vytautas Magnus University, Rector, Professor Juozas Augutis.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, dear academic community, our force, our powerful is another unit. If we will united, we will strong. If we will speak in one voice, we will keep peace in Europe, we will stop a war. Today I am very proud that I am part of this common voice, like my university, Vytautas Magnus University from Kaunas. Thank you very much.
And finally, we know perfectly that all we do for next European generations. So for this reason, I would like to ask the President of Student Council, Mr. Lukas Redeman, also to join us.
Ladies and gentlemen, I feel honored to be here today to speak to all of you, especially to my dear students and PhD students, whom I'm so happy that they have all come here to really feel the spirit of Transform for Europe. And thanks also for mentioning that at the heart of this project, and since the beginning, are the students. I've been involved, and other students have been involved in this alliance from the beginning on, from the foundations, in writing the proposal. And I really feel, and this is like the perfect example, that our voice is heard and we can shape this wonderful project together for a future, for a better future. And I just wanted to give you one example, a short example of how close we have already become, because the day when Russia invaded Ukraine, the day itself, there was a proposal from my student colleagues of Sofia University in Bulgaria we texted, and they were saying, we have to do something, we have to pass a resolution, we have to issue a statement as students of our 7 universities. And within one day, I'm very grateful also for the help of my colleagues from Vytautas Magnus University. They were also very keen to formulate a common statement. And within one day, we issued a statement. It was published on our website. And from then onwards, we have continuously discussed means to help Ukrainian students at our universities, in Ukraine itself, but also, this is why I'm so happy that we are here together to help Silesia University and to think about means how Silesia University in Poland, which is especially affected, of course, by the refugees coming from Ukraine, how to help our partner universities. And this is, for me, a perfect example of how important this collaboration is, how strong we are together, and also how we feel about what is happening in other universities, in other countries, in other cultures. So yeah, I'm just very grateful to be here, and I wish my fellow students and PhD students all the best for this week, and I hope you get the spirit and take it back home and share it. Thank you.
Today our community has grown. We gained 2 new partners, and I would like you to meet them today. I would like to invite Professor Klaudia Kutnar from University of Primorska. Professor, the floor is yours.
Hello. I would like to thank all 7 universities to give the opportunity to University of Primorska to be part of Transform for Europe. We are small public university, really close to University of Trieste, and I can assure you that we will do our best, that we will be a real added value to the transfer from Europe in the next few months before the proposal for nuclear vet. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Rector. And our new partner is also the Catholic University of Portugal. I would like to invite Vice Rector, Professor Peter Hannenberg. Professor, the floor is yours.
Boa noite, minhas senhoras, meus senhores. É prazer estar aqui hoje em representação da Universidade Católica Portuguesa. I thought I would give you some words in Portuguese so that you get a notion of how broad and how different Europe is. And for our university, it is a great pleasure, but also a pleasure that we feel with a notion of responsibility to be part of this alliance of building a strong bridge of transformation and understanding through Europe, now that we are in from the very western point of Europe to the east, and making this a strong instrument for 2 things: for making Europe stronger and for enhancing and stressing the role that universities and academia take in this Europe. And therefore, I thank you all for having us, and we are grateful that we can be part of this alliance. Thank you.
Thank you, Rector. Today we have learned again what it means to be a European. It means to celebrate peace and unity, to be open to dialogue, free exchange of ideas and interaction across borders based on values and liberty. But it is also about being helpful and supportive. Today, some people in Europe particularly need our solidarity. Ladies and gentlemen, please meet our new and very brave associated partner, the Mariupol State University, represented today by its rector, Professor Mykola Trymofienko.
The members of the Transform for Europe University Alliance. It's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you on behalf of Ukraine and Mariupol State University. The university is the same age as independent Ukraine. Last year we celebrated its 30th anniversary in the drama theater, a true architectural gem of Mariupol. It was a spectacular celebration attracted by bright colors and playful, atmosphere. And it was in that drama theater with 1,500 civilians sheltering when a Russian pilot dropped a bomb on the building, totally ignoring huge warning signs children attached to the both sides of the building. Mostly peaceful civilians, women, children, and the elderly were killed. We have always been inspired by the goal of making Mariupol a student city. The university enhanced its development capacity by launching new programs, extending its range of partnerships, updating technical and research facilities, as well as creating a truly modern campus and a unique for the Azov Region Museum of Science under the auspices of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky. That was the time of our creative dreams and ambitious plans, but unfortunately they happened to be destroyed by the war. The city of Mariupol has been ruthlessly wiped off by Russian occupiers. By their detrimental actions, they destroyed 95% of its infrastructure. And thanks to the courage and bravery of our soldiers and true faith of Mariupol residents, the occupants show their inability to stamp out resistance. Since then, we split our lives into before and after. The university buildings being always recognized as platforms for professional development, creative realization and scientific discoveries are now drifting into gloomy silence and emptiness. They have been never regarded as military objects, yet they appeared to have been targeted. Consequently, all university buildings are completely destroyed. The war deprived us of our homes, but not of our inner souls. We are well aware of what we are fighting for and summon up our strength to bear pain and work hard. I still cannot believe that among those killed in this war were our teachers and students, these wonderful, like-minded people, dedicated professionals who loved their work. No words can bring them back, but their memory will live with us forever and help to reveal a fresh and work for a better future. Now we are working and have resumed our activities. As long as teachers are eager to impart and share their knowledge, students are keen to learn, and the staff is ready to provide the educational process, Mariupol State University will be encouraged to operate. We believe that these are not the walls that matter, but people united by a common idea are our greatest value. We consider it essential to keep everyone safe as well as provide safe working and learning environment. Currently, Mariupol State University will be temporarily dislocated in Kyiv, the capital of unconquerable Ukraine. Our partners from the Kyiv National University of Construction and Architecture have kindly provided us with one of their buildings as well as student accommodation. We are greatly thankful to our partners for their generosity and their kind support. We have resumed distance learning through online platform Moodle and are ready to discover unique practices and insights of efficiency from leading European universities, as we already have experience in many European projects in educational and research area. Students are our greatest asset and are always valued and respected. We are working hard to guarantee regular salaries and scholarships for them and are eager to gather all members of the university community, our big family of Mariupol University, in the shortest possible time in Kyiv. But wherever we are, Mariupol always remains in our hearts. We regard the tragedy of each Mariupol resident as our personal tragedy. We cannot work in peace on realizing what hell thousands of people, thousands of forced refugees have gone through. Together with the Mariupol City Council, we are forming a large assistance center for all Mariupol residents on the basis of Mariupol State University. Our dream is to come back to Mariupol, the free, unconquered city hero. We will restore and breathe life into it, filled with the new values, views and ideas. Mariupol will definitely become a progressive European city, and Mariupol State University will proudly bear its name and build a reasonable education by developing the next generation of the best specialists for the wealth and prosperity of independent Ukraine. Today, Ukrainian people are fighting for their lives to defend European values, for freedom, democracy, and the opportunity to live in a free Europe. I am deeply convinced that with your assistance and active participation, we will reconstruct and build a brand new university. We are rebranding, launching new marketing strategies, updating and modernizing our educational programs, raising funds for refurbishing our university campus in Kyiv. My sincere thanks to each of you for your kind assistance and support, and first of all to our friends from Vytautas Magnus University from Lithuania. I'm pretty sure that together we will be able to contribute greatly to the victory of our country and Europe on the information and educational fronts in this existential war. I sincerely wish all members of the Alliance fruitful meetings and productive results. Slava Ukraini!
French President Emmanuel Macron, when presenting the idea of European universities, expressed the hope that they would become a new impulse, deepening European unity, solidarity, and harmonious cooperation. And after the last months of hard work, I know perfectly that he was right. All we need now is peace and hope. Europe, which we will leave to the future generations, must be strong, secure, and rich. But where the language is too poor, it's better to replace it with music. Let's listen to a very special piece, the hymn of the third millennium. It will be performed by the choir of the Institute Institute of Arts under the direction of Professor Aleksandra Zeman. The piece is written and composed by Mirosław Gałęski, with vocal of Patrycja Sobierańska and Przemysław Orszulik, accompanied with bandura by the Ukrainian artist Miss Daria Fedun, and accompanied with the piano by Mr. Jakub Czekierda.
Wszędzie przemoc i egoizm trwa. Kogo obchodzi dziś, co z bratem dzieje się? Skąd na jego twarzy ta łza? Zapomniałeś, czym dobro jest, czym jest zło. Zapomniałeś, bo jakże wygodne to, biegniesz zdyszany, nie wiedząc, gdzie los gna. Nie wiesz, czy hojnym jest, nie wiesz, czy z ciebie dni, czy cię spycha aż do samego dna. A przecież ty, a przecież ty, a przecież ja.
Możesz od nowa zacząć żyć i ścieżką drogą nie mieć lecz być. Zaufaj temu, który od lat już 2000 patrzy na świat. Płonie nadzieją wśród trudnych dni, to nie umacnia wiarę, gdy serce miłość rozwija. Jak kwiecie, maj kwiecie, dają dziś światu
Ludziom miłość swoją daj. Ludziom serc twardych, ludziom smutnych duszy. Daj ludziom miłość, pokaż szczęścia raj. Niech ona lud w sercach ich okruszy. Czy stać się jeszcze na taki gest? Pokazać światu, czym miłość jest. Miłość jest. Daj ludziom miłość swoją daj. Ludziom serc twardych, ludziom smutnych duszy. Daj ludziom miłość, pokaż szczęścia raj. Niech ona lud w sercach ich okruszy. Daj światu miłość swoją daj. Bo coraz trudniej znaleźć ją na świecie. No moc jej rosnąć, na jej strunach grać. Bez nią jak światłem znowu 1000 lat.
Probably it's even hard for you to imagine how happy we are that we can finally meet in person. Finally, we can be able to talk and start the next stage of our common European adventure. We hope and believe that the first meeting in Katowice will be one of your best experiences and will stay in your memory for long. And for this reason, we have prepared one more surprise for rectors. At our university, there are many secrets to be discovered. One of them is an excellent faculty of arts. You have already seen and heard what our musicians can do. And now it's time to invite the representative of the Silesian School of Ex Libris, the Dean of Faculty of Arts and Educational Sciences, Professor Krzysztof Bąk.
Time for art, yes. Magnificences, ladies and gentlemen. Probably from the beginning of their history, people have made property. Everything that was valuable was and is worth marking, describing, making reservation. What's valuable? What is hard to get, create, or find? Boats, beehives, vessels, animals, weapons, sometimes other people, hundreds, thousands of things, more and more within the progress of civilization. The written word was also almost priceless. The work of a writer or copyist, the scrolls, clay tablets, codexes, was expensive because the skill was unique, requiring knowledge, time, and patience. Thus, the artifacts become precious. The first known designation comes from ancient Egypt nearly 3,500 years ago. Much later, in the Middle Ages, heraldic emblems began to be painted on the margins of the books. And with the popularization of printing, there was also the idea of printed card, small graphic pasted into the book. And that's how it all started. Book plates become popular with the elite. They were created by the most outstanding artists of the Renaissance. They appeared in other European countries and later on other continents. The art of the ex libris has evolved along with culture, civilization, and aesthetics. Nowadays, the bookplate become independent from the book, becoming a mental memento of ownership signs, and is artistry, uniqueness, idea, and mastery of realization were more and more appreciated. Today, it is an art of the border of the utility and pure art, with the ambition to tell the individual stories of its characters, people to whom a specific project is dedicated. And finally, I must reveal why, as I was talking about the ex libris. At the University of Silesia, we have an accepted artistic studio devoted to the art of the bookplate, the modern ex libris research studio. And because we want to show something unique and at the same time encourage you to take an interest in the bookplate, we have prepared for each of rectors T4E universities a modest ex libris souvenir. I hope you will like them. So, and I thank you, and I'd invite you to watch the short presentation. Presentation? Oh, yes. Thank you very much.
Dear rectors, I do hope that you will enjoy our present special book plates designed by Professor Krzysztof Bąk. And now, to conclude today's ceremony, I would like to invite a very special person. Without his academic imagination and ambition, our Silesian European adventure probably wouldn't have started. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Vice Rector for Domestic and International Cooperation, Professor Tomasz Pietrzykowski.
Your Magnificences, rectors, distinguished guests, Madam Deputy Governor of the Silesian region, Mr. Deputy Mayor of the city of Katowice, Mr. Deputy Chairman of the Upper Silesian Metropolitan Union, dear friends, colleagues, students, PhD students, dear T4E, members of T4E community. First of all, I'd like to thank you very, very much for this in-person participation in Europe Day, which is at the same time the beginning of the week during which we will be tasting, not testing, but tasting what Transform for Europe should and may look like and what energy it can bring to our communities, as well as surrounding cities and regions. My role here is just to close this formal part of today's ceremony and invite you to enjoy the concert that will be performed by a small group of our students just outside this hall in the foyer, in the vestibule of this building. The group of students under supervision and guidance of Dr. Agata Hołdyk, who is with us today, and the group composed of Danuta Bańczyk, Dominika Wrzeszcz, Weronika Szczepaniak, Patrycja Sobierańska, and Przemysław Orszulik. We will have this pleasure of listening to that concert in a minute, but before I will invite you to go out to enjoy that moment, I'd like to take this opportunity also to say thank you to that group of people from our university whose very hard work actually made today's event and the whole week's events possible. There were obviously very many people involved in all those preparations, not only from our university, but from all our partner universities. But there was a core group who has done the most tedious, hardly visible organizational background work, and to whom I would like to extend my special thanks. And the head of that group is a person very well known to all of you, that is Małgosia Myśliwiec, sitting here. Thank you very much. But if I may, I would like also name Emilia Mielaniuk, Agata Wójcik, Agnieszka Kwaśniak, Małgosia Sęk, and Anna Olender. If you are here with us, please stand up and show yourselves to us and let us. Very, very well done. As you all can see, we are hardly able to keep gender balance in that group, but I hope you will excuse us this last time, and next year I promise we will try to do better. And now, please let me formally close this first part of today's ceremony and invite you to the well-deserved pleasures, spiritual pleasures at the first moments, that is the concert, and later on a small nourishment, which is also very well deserved to all of us for this very fruitful, very intensive, very moving at certain moments day, for which I'm really, really grateful. And please, at the end, let me wish you equally fruitful, productive, intensive, and moving days for the rest of this first T4E week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So let's go to foyer.